All right, welcome back to the channel, everyone. So today we have a few things to discuss, but first, is it just me or is it delusion season, man? Like, the amount of hypocritical, psychotic takes coming from the MMA world, the amount of entitlement, is there something in the water? Is there something in the air? Is it a certain time of the year? I don't know. But like, the first topic I want to get into, and what I'm saying will all make sense, is Charles Oliveira, right? Speaking of delusion. Now, Charles Oliveira, for those of you who are not following regularly on the MMA world, Oliveira was just booked against Rafael Fiziev on October 11th in Rio de Janeiro. Now, for those of you living under a rock and haven't realized that Oliveira versus porier just took place on June 28th, 2025 for the lightweight title, Oliveira was brutally knocked out, right? And from the time of June, let's say, so June 28th, right? So let's just, a few days here, right? So we're starting at July. So July, August, September, and then what is it, October 11th? Yeah, so 3 months and a bit, right? I'm pretty sure the standard concussion protocol and all that for being knocked out is 6 months. Generally, I think you get like a 6-month ban where it's like you can't even pick up a fucking glove, right? For Oliveira's case, he's returning so soon after being brutally KO'd, right? And being KO'd is the worst possible scenario in combat sports, obviously, right? However, it's all a spectrum, right? Because let's say you're an amateur fighter or you just got in the UFC, you don't have too many miles on you, and you get knocked out, right? Obviously terrible, fraud trucked, hype train, derail, blah, 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 right? You'll obviously deal with that from the fans. However, as far as like health-wise, like I said, it's a spectrum. It affects everyone different, right? Like whether you have like this giant skull like that's made for damage or not, it all depends. However, for the average person who is just starting their UFC career or fighting career and they get knocked out, you can recover from it, right? Like you take the proper time off, and sure, you might be a little gun shy and you're not going to be as sure of yourself anymore. But that being said, most fighters can turn it around and regain confidence within a fight or two, right? Whereas Charles Oliveira, almost every elite fight he's in, he's getting dropped. Not only that, he comes from shouldve, which is a notoriously known hard sparring gym, right? Where they have gym wars all the time. And for Oliveira, I'm pretty sure this is the first time he's been knocked out cold in his whole career. If not, then it's been a long time since he has been. And for him to want to do this, let's see his statement. So Oliveira says, this is a translation. Dana White, Hunter, Sean Shelby, thank you guys for fulfilling my request. It has been a long time since I fought in Brazil, and being able to fight again in Brazil is very important to me. And I get that, you know what I mean? Like Charles Oliveira, not only does he have a huge international fan base at this point, obviously he has a huge fan base in Brazil. I'm not Brazilian, obviously, but I don't know who's bigger in their primes, whether it's Pereira or Charles Oliveira, but either way, I'm pretty sure, as of right now, they're probably their two biggest stars. Obviously, the fighting nerds are on the come up, so I'm pretty sure they'll probably take over, whether or not they have success. But that being said, I totally appreciate the fact that you want to fight in Brazil and all that, for sure. But who the fuck is Charles Oliveira's manager? It's up to the manager to be the voice of reason. And, I'll probably make a video on this later on or whatever. But there's something really, about a manager taking, 10% of a fighter who's going in there, risking his life, his health, everything, taking 10%. And a majority of these managers, it's just like UFC calls, it's like, hey man, can you do Oliveira versus Fiziev? It's like, okay, yeah, I'll let him know. Okay, hey Oliveira, can we do that? Yes, no, okay, yes, okay, cool. Yeah, we can do that. All right, perfect, bye. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure that's the majority of what they do. Obviously, if they're getting brand deals and all this and all that, whatever, right? But the average manager is just pick up a phone call, and this is what I'm gathering, because I've obviously watched a lot of UFC podcasts and all that, and a lot of people are really opposed to managers, and I don't know if Charles Oliveira's manager, I don't know what it is. Either it's just he doesn't care about Oliveira and he just wants that money. Because if I'm Charles Oliveira's manager, I'm saying, hey man, we just got knocked the fuck out. And we're notoriously known as having a questionable chin. That's the thing. Rafael Fiziev is a very elite, well, he has elite striking. He hasn't been having elite success in the UFC, but he is really good at striking, right? Without a doubt. And he's very dangerous. A little undersized for 155. I always said he should go down to 145, but it is what it is. Charles Oliveira should not even think about returning until next year. You take this 6-month protocol. Don't pick up a glove. You want to chill around the gym and be a voice of like confidence and all this for these other guys or corner them? Cool. Do not train. Do not like maybe like obviously physical and all that, like cardio and all that. But as far as like physically, like sparring or anything, nothing. But his manager, like I said, either he doesn't give a shit about Oliveira and he's just collecting a check, or this guy's an idiot, man, because it's up to him to tell Oliveira to stop. Slow down. Sure, like, I get being a countryman and wanting to fight in front of your home crowd or whatever, but is risking your legacy worth a few extra cheers and all this stuff? Like, Oliveira is beloved around the world, and I get you want to fight in Brazil, but Porier was never even a champion. And he look at, and that's the thing, I know Oliveira's not retiring immediately, but look at the strings he was able to pull from the UFC. You're telling me that Oliveira can't be like, hey man, let's get another Brazil card going on sometime in, early to maybe like first or second quarter of next year. Let's do a pay-per-view there or maybe another fight night and I'll headline that. You know what I'm saying? Whereas you don't need to take this risk for just, it's so stupid to me because I don't know if I want to call it selfish, but like, I don't know. Someone really needs to be in Oliveira's corner and tell him what's what, because I get he's older too. I think, what is he, like 35, 36? So he wants to make the most out of his fighting career. But that being said, if this is what his trajectory is, I think he might be one of those cases where the sport retires him. Because that's the thing. If fighters, I'm pretty sure like Dan Hooker talked about this, where it's just like, he's like, until I had someone running my career and actually caring about me, I would show up to these fights injured. I wouldn't give a fuck. And I feel like as like, obviously, every fighter has a different personality, but like a lot of these old school like fighters like Oliveira, Dan Hooker, they don't give a fuck. They just want to go in there and fight. And it's up to someone to have the voice of reason, which should be the fucking manager or someone on his team. So yeah, Oliveira, honestly, man, I don't know the ins and outs of your whatever, but you should probably consider looking at another manager or maybe not even having one. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, you're so established. What the fuck do you need some moron taking 15 or 10% of your check when you're risking your whole life? Give that 15 and 10% to your family, to your mom, to your wife. Put it away for your kids. You know what I'm saying? Something for you. Or maybe give it a little bit to your coach or something who, I don't know. But like, someone just taking this money and be like, yeah, we'll go in a 3-month turnaround. Yeah, we can do it. It's really giving me a bad vibe, man. Really bad vibe. And not only that, I hate every single thing about this matchup. Every single thing about it. Obviously, like I said, the timing and everything, terrible. Another thing, too, let's look at Fiziev, right? So he's coming off of a win against Bahamondes. Decent win, right? Like, it was definitely a fight, but Rafael Fiziev definitely got it done. However, before that, lost to Gaethje. Before that, lost to Gamrot, which was an injury, but still. Before that, lost to Gaethje again. So, 1-3 in your last 4, and you get Oliveira? What? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, it's really, really, really pissing me off because Oliveira, as much as Oliveira is kind of been hit or miss lately as well, like we look at his record, right? So he lost it to Porier, right? Before that, beat Chandler in a decision, which he probably should have finished Chandler, but it is what it is. Before that, lost to Sarukian. Then before that, won against Benil Dariush. And before that, lost against Makhachev. Before that, won against Gaethje. So it's kind of like win, lose, win, lose, win, lose, win, lose. However, generally, that's how it goes when you're fighting these elite competitions. Unless you're a Porier or a Khabib where you just beat everybody, chances are you're going to take a few losses here and there. However, by no means does that give Rafael Fiziev the entitlement to get this fight. And that's the thing. I don't begrudge Rafael Fiziev for taking this fight. Do your thing, man. You got a compromised legend to build your resume. I get that. By no means do I begrudge Fiziev for taking this fight. Like, it's the fight game. You know what I mean? Like, fighters aren't going to care about each other. You know what I mean? Like, it's a very selfish sport. It is what it is. However, as far as the UFC is concerned, you guys are idiots. Number 4 Oliveira versus number 10 Fiziev. Now, they may be wanting to make a name off of Oliveira now, and it might be the point of Oliveira's career where it's like, okay, we know he's not going to be the champion, so, you know, we'll squeeze every last drop of popularity and, you know, all that out of him and give it to all these up-and-comers. But that being said, Rafael Fiziev, like I said, he does not belong in this division. And I thought they were going to go the Holloway route because Holloway can't fight until next year because I think his hand, Oliveira should be on concussion protocol. They have history, boom. Or even Dan Hooker, you know what I'm saying? Like, if Dan Hooker wants to wait a little longer, unless he's fighting Arman Tsarukyan, I don't know. But, no, it's just such a... Rafael Fiziev, to me, doesn't deserve a fight with Oliveira. He has, like, anywhere from the top 10 to number 5 in Gaethje, he can fight. Like, Fiziev can fight a Dariush. He can fight a... maybe not Pimblett, because I think they want to put him a little farther. A rematch with Gamrot. Gamrot will take on anybody. He doesn't care. But, yeah, as far as this fight, it's just really, really stupid. And whether it's his manager not helping him or just not caring about him, which is probably the worst case scenario, I don't know. But Charles Oliveira, like, think about your future, man. Think about it. Like I said, sure, you're going to get a few extra cheers and all that. And sure, you'll probably get, you know, be the talk of the town for the whole week there. And that's the thing. I feel like Oliveira's transcended the whole win-loss kind of thing, where it's just like his fans will love him regardless. Similar to like a Nate Diaz or a McGregor or someone like that, where it's just like, yeah, we don't care if you lose. Like, you show up and fight, we love you and all that, right? But yeah, is it worth turning around this much for just a fight night in Brazil? That's the thing. It's not even like it's a title shot. It's just a fight night against... Let's be honest, Fiziev isn't the biggest of names, so even if Charles Oliveira does win this, and that's the thing, Oliveira definitely can win this. I don't think Oliveira's just going to get slaughtered, but because Fiziev's a lot more of a kicking style, right? Whereas Oliveira, he has the Muay Thai where he'll be able to check a lot of these kicks, but as far as boxing, it's still dangerous, but Rafael Fiziev is more of like a Muay Thai as well, like but more kick heavy, right? So obviously, he could land a head kick on Charles Oliveira, and Charles Oliveira, he definitely is slowing down, but I think this is a winnable fight, but just, like I said, way too soon. Way, way, way too soon, and you really need to give your team a good look in the mirror, right? Like, really analyze who you got with you, because if this manager is you know, doing this out of his own free will, taking 10% plus sending you up in the worst possible scenario, by all means, get rid of him, you know? But what do I know? You know what I'm saying? I'm just here, so what is my opinion worth? But yeah, that being said, hopefully Oliveira gets a minor injury and has to pull out. You know, like, I hate to say this, but like, hopefully he has like food poisoning or something. Obviously you don't want him to like break his leg or anything like that, but like, hopefully, you know, he eats some spoiled food or something and has to pull out, because yeah, I do not want to see Oliveira risk his legacy for a fight night against number 10. You know what I'm saying? It's so stupid. I'm getting angry even talking about it. And then, yeah, speaking of delusion, like, I won't get into it too deep because I've talked a lot about it, but like, Porier, I think he turned down he already knows that he doesn't want to fight Arman, but like a while ago he was like, no, I'll give up my title before fighting him. And it's just like, I hate that. I should have addressed it earlier on, but I hate that mentality, because I think Topuria will win that. And then like I said, beyond deluded, right? And then Arman Tsarukyan, who thinks he's guaranteed a title shot. And that's the thing. I know he's open to fighting these other guys, but I don't know. They're both like really delusional right now, because Topuria, he should definitely have another fight in the interim before he fights Makhachev if he wins. But that being said, for Topuria to just be like, oh, I'm not fighting this guy, I get it's part of his promo style of like no selling his next opponent, but I don't know, man. It's just, it's annoying. And then Arman Tsarukyan, like, get in the fucking cage. But yeah. Anyways, my other point, the second point of this video I wanted to make is Sean Strickland. Sean Strickland, recently, he was in an interview where he was talking about like Chimaev, and like, I don't know why he's so bitter about Chimaev. It doesn't really make any sense to me, but basically like, oh, Chimaev, you're a weak man. Like, I seen you beating up a guy who's 1-1 and like just steamrolling him because he was the same size as your opponent. Like, man, like you can't be doing that. And I'm like, aren't you the guy who beats the living fuck out of influencers? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, is it delusion season or what? Like, that's the thing. Obviously, Sean Strickland, like, what? He said something stupid? What? Like, obviously, it's not a, crazy, like, revelation. You're like, what? But, like, even for Strickland standards, this is beyond hypocritical, man. This is the dumbest shit I've ever heard. A guy, it's like a... I'm at a loss for words here. Like, it's just so stupid because it's like, you want to complain about chimaev, and sure, hard sparring with a one-on-one guy, whoever it was. Obviously, it's not ideal. Like, for a pro to go there and steamroll him, like, it's not great. Obviously, the guy who got steamrolled will learn a lot and be like, holy shit, like, I've just been humbled. But obviously, that's the risk when it comes to combat sports. These guys aren't exactly like, not everyone's like some zen level-headed, like, hello, shall we spar? Like, a lot of these guys are like, let's fucking go, man! So, that's to be expected. But for Strickland to say this is the dumbest shit I've ever heard. Like, you go beat up on influencers. And that's the thing. A lot of these guys, like, I'm not like, oh no, like, don't hurt them. Like, a lot of these influencers are fucking tools anyways. Like, I don't care. I'm not feeling bad for them. But for him to go bitch about chimaev, like, I don't know if he's trying to build a fight with chimaev, because that's the thing, he is suspended, and not only that, he failed twice against Strickland, so I don't think the UFC is like, yeah, we gotta get Strickland in the title shot, yeah, let's go. So by no means is this like making any sense to me, and like, you see chimaev, he's like, I'm in LA, you got a problem? Let's go, like, pull up. And obviously Strickland's not going to do that, because, and not only that, the UFC won't let it happen, because the last thing you need is a guy who's notorious for pulling out and being injured and being sick, fighting a guy before his fight. Well, what is it? Like, I'm pretty sure it's next week. You know what I'm saying? So obviously nothing's going to happen in that regard. And I don't think Strickland's that dumb to go up to like wherever he's training and go fucking make a big scene out of it. I don't know if it's his promo from Strickland, an attempt to get, attention or title aspirations back, but I don't know why. It just seems like Strickland's so bitter. But that's the thing. Whenever someone's like, and I'm not a psychologist, but whenever someone can't stop talking about someone else and constantly shitting on them, either they secretly deep down like them, or they're just bitter over something. And in this case, I like to think that chimaev went to that gym, and obviously in just striking alone, Strickland probably did well. Like, obviously chimaev knows how to strike, but I feel like if they're just boxing or whatever, Strickland probably got the upper hand. Not like dog walking or anything like that, but probably landed a bit more and probably tuned him up a bit. Whereas MMA, like in general, or let's say drilling, like grappling, I feel like chimaev like dog walked Strickland. Subbed him like every which way and twice on Sunday. You know what I'm saying? So to me, this is... and that's the thing, Strickland goes all personal about his home country and all that and shit. And I feel like DDP will definitely do that to chimaev as well. But it just doesn't make any sense, this angle for me. And like I said, it's just beyond hypocritical. Like, yeah, don't beat up these guys who are inexperienced. But yeah, I'm going to beat up these guys with literally zero combat experience and beat up them bad. So, yeah, terrible take from Strickland, but... I'm not exactly surprised by that. That's the thing. I do find Strickland funny. Like, it's not just like, oh, yeah, I hate Strickland. Like, obviously, a lot of his takes are psychotic, and you got to take a lot of it with a grain of salt, because he is a character. But, I don't know, man. To me, for what I want with Strickland right now is just become more dynamic. Throw some kicks. Like, we're done with this whole thing. Like, this got you this far. Like, you know what I mean? You can still have the Philly shell and all that, but, like, one jab and a teep, like, that's just not cutting it anymore. If you have aspirations for the title, or at least wanting to stay in the top 5, is it the problem with Strickland, or is it just these guys in the top 5 that Strickland are beating are so shit that they can't figure out the style? Like, I don't know what it is, but yeah. Strickland, stop bitching about shit. Get a fight booked as soon as possible. Try to figure that suspension out. Get a finish. And get these fights by merit. You don't want to become this whole Colby Covington bullshit, because that's the thing. Like, I think everyone's figured out Colby Covington for a while now, and I really hope that Strickland, like, that's the thing. I don't want Strickland as the champion. Like, it's like, oh, he's entertaining. You know what I'm saying? But like, his fights are garbage, man. So no, I just want Strickland to get back on track, and that's the thing. Like I said, I do find him funny, but definitely change up your style, and yeah. Give your head a shake, man, because like you can't be this hypocritical. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's be real. But yeah, that's all I got. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like and subscribe, and peace.